I am happy to see you here for day 4. Today, we're going to cover the love language of acts of service. And when you think of acts of service, we always think of somebody else doing something for you. But today, we're going to talk about how do you do things for yourself that make your life easier, where you feel like I have a moment to breathe. I can actually take that deep breath. So, we're going to talk about routines today. What kind of little tweaks can you do in your daily routine that show some nurturing, some support for yourself? It's so important that we do that because we're so busy doing and going. And by the end of the day, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. But we don't want to do that. We want to have little moments in our day that feed us, that nurture us, that love on ourselves so that we can be renewed and restored. Very, very critical for us to do that for ourselves and to feel that fulfillment and feeling like during the day something's being poured into us instead of how we normally feel, which is during the day things are just taken out of us. So we're depleted by the end of the day. We don't want to have that happen. We want to find those moments, not big, but little moments where we can pour in to ourselves. So now it's your turn. How do you do little things throughout your day that nourish you, that nurture you, that make you feel good inside and maybe put a smile on your face? So let's start with the morning. Your morning routine. Is there something that you can tweak or take out that may make you feel a little bit better? Like some people say, they start their morning, they don't look at their phone except for maybe the time to see what time it is, but they don't look at messages. What is one thing you can do in the morning before you tap into anybody else? Maybe it's a prayer. Maybe it's some deep breaths before you even get out of bed. Maybe it's just a long stretch in the bed that you do. Say one thing maybe to yourself that makes you smile, that makes you feel good before you get out of bed. Or maybe when you get out of bed, you do a stretch. But those little things don't take a lot of time. They don't take a lot of energy. Maybe when you're in the bathroom in the morning, maybe put on your favorite music, whatever you need that day to nurture you, that makes you feel good. Sometimes it's fast music. Sometimes it's just like I have to gently wake up. So I need something light and pretty, whatever that is. But those little tweaks change your mood, change your energy, and makes the start of your day feel really, really good. And maybe it's having one of those great beverages that you just saw me have that warm you up inside. Remember, we want to do things that make us feel good and we don't feel guilty about later. So that's what I'm talking about. So make sure that if you're doing something, it's something you don't feel guilty about later on after you have it. Those little tweaks can help in the morning. And maybe you do your meditation or prayer in the morning that gets you centered and grounded. And sometimes if you don't have a lot of time to do all of that, I love YouTube for the fact that there are meditations that you can find that are 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. So you can even do them in the bathroom, away from everybody else in a quiet place, and just take 5 minutes to get yourself calm and centered and ready to face your day. So add something to your morning routine that feels loving and nurturing and calming and gives you a chance just to be with yourself and to check in. And then midday. This is when we're in the midst of our hustle and bustle most of the time. Find time midday that you can just take a pause. Even once again, if it's like 5 minutes, take a pause and breathe. And if you work a traditional job where you're in an office, go to the bathroom and go in a stall where you kind of are surrounded and there aren't a bunch of people around you. And just take some breaths and think about something that makes you happy, something that makes you smile, but you pause. And if you're a person that works from home, Here's the thing, take a moment, go get yourself something wonderful to drink and do that. Because what that does is it gets you away from the computer, it gets you up away from the desk, it gets you moving. Make sure you take those breaks to have lunch, to just breathe. So important. It feels nurturing to yourself. And you've paused from that go, go, go and that stress of that day. And then we go to the evening time. Think about how you transition from work to home life. What do you do in there to give yourself some kind of relief, some kind of break, some kind of transition that feels really good for you? Figure out what works for you in that transition. Some people after work go work out, and that's a good release from them and separates work and home life. So figure out what's your thing that you can do for that. And then in the evening, that wind down before the day starts all over again the next day. How can you prepare yourself in the evening to have a good day the next day? Maybe you meal prep your food, so you have it. So in the morning, you're not running around trying to figure out what am I going to do for lunch? Or maybe you meal prep your breakfast. So that way you have something nourishing and really good to eat. Maybe you lay out your clothes and pick out your clothes. That way in the morning, you do less thinking. You just have to pick up stuff and go. You don't have to worry about or go around, what do I have to wear? What do I have to do? And maybe in the end of your night, you have that warm beverage if that's what you like, and you just breathe for a few minutes. Maybe you look outside and watch nature and what the divine has created. And maybe before you close your eyes, you think of 5 things that you're grateful for. That way you go to sleep thinking of really good things, not the to-do list, not what you have to do for somebody else, not what didn't work, but just that. And if you've had a really rough day, do something to get rid of that energy. Do something to release the day. Maybe it's just shower where you're just saying, I wash away the day. If you have the time, a bath is wonderful. Wash that away from you. So that way you don't take it into your sleep and you don't take it into the next day. So your activity for today is to think about your routine and figure out what little tweaks you can add. And if some of the things sound really great, but you can't do them right now, do some little small thing. And maybe next day add something else, or next week add something else. Don't stress yourself out with this either. This should be gentle and with ease and in a loving way. And I'd love for you to comment below as to what things you tweaked in your routine. And if you need help with ideas and suggestions, comment that too. Let the community support you and nurture you and love on you some so that you can get what you need and desire. Part of self love is also asking for what you need. So if you haven't already, subscribe, like this video, come back tomorrow, see what we're going to be doing tomorrow. And remember, you are the most important person in your life.